Hello and welcome to the Now Educated podcast. It's so good to have you with me in 2023, and together I am certain we're going to make this a year to remember. Key to doing that, however, is the mindset we're going to develop in this year. That's going to help us build our wealth and grow our wealth. And in this episode, I'd love for us to learn from an Italian chocolatier by the name of Pietro Ferrero, one of the co-founders of the Ferrero Group. Now, if you're hearing that name for the first time, I'll give you a bit of background. The Ferrero Group is the second largest chocolate manufacturer in the world. They're behind iconic brands like Ferrero Rocher chocolates, Kinder chocolates with the Kinder Joy eggs, Raffaello chocolates, and one of my favorites, Nutella, the chocolate spread. But they weren't always that way. They didn't start being the second largest. Their history spans way back into the 40s, 1946 to be specific. And if you know a thing or two about history, 1946 is the year after the end of the Second World War. And Pietro, at that time, is a baker and chocolatier, Italian. Now, being Italian, that meant that they fought on the same side with Germany, or Hitler's Germany. And they lost the war. And you know, after you lose a war, and especially that kind of war, people aren't necessarily rushing to your aid or rushing to do business with you. They're probably very mad at you. And at that point in time, I think they were more stuck up in the Nuremberg trials or trying to explain themselves and hopefully get people to forgive them or at least want to do business with them at some point in time in the future. What does this mean for Pietro? The supply chain would be affected. And as a chocolatier, one of the key ingredients that they exported was cacao or cocoa. And for Pietro, the question now became, with an unpredictable supply chain, how would he make sure that his chocolate business stayed alive for as long as possible? So what Pietro did, instead of giving up, is he began to experiment with different ingredients so that he could see if he could find a way to prolong the useful life of his ingredients or get his limited ingredients to do more. And one of his experiments was mixing cocoa with hazelnut. And he developed a chocolate spread that, forgive my Italian, gandua, that became so popular with the Italian people and then later on spread to the rest of the world as they began to branch out. It is the predecessor of what we now love, or some of us love, Nutella. Now, what are we learning here? He didn't do this because of some market research or trying to diversify his product range. It was so that he could keep the business going and prolong the use or multiply the use of the supplies that he had. You see, what we are learning here is that sometimes when you have your back against the wall, if you've gone through some difficult times, it's not the time to quit. Those difficulties can actually open you up to a whole new world if you're willing to try different things. So as we get into 2023 and we're determined to grow our wealth, I want to encourage us to do this. Use your strengths as your basis. That's our basis. Leverage our strengths and do a lot of things this year. And let's keep what works, what keeps us going. Because in the midst of surviving, we'll probably find that breakthrough that will lead us to thrive. My name is Terrence. I hope you're now educated, and I look forward to serving you and growing your wealth and building those healthy relationships with money. And if you're part of our community, you know that if you know better, you do better, and everything gets better when we share what we know. I'm out.